The Book Thief begins in 1939, before the outbreak of World War II in Germany, in the small town of Molching. Liesl, the protagonist, experiences loss and grief as a young girl growing up. Her father is taken away from her for being a communist, her brother dies on the train ride, and finally, to top it all off, her mother gives her away for adoption. We experience her grief and pain firsthand after the bombing. This dolly shot begins with Liesl finally giving Rudy his kiss, as he lies still in the rubble. As the camera continues to zoom out further and further, Rudy almost becomes blended into the background with the bland and chalky colours of the rubble. Like many of the Jews in crematoria, he too is blended into the colours of ash as he dies. Our first idea deals with the power of words, how they connect people together, empower those who feel helpless and lost. Storytelling through words is the reason why Liesl is able to connect with Max. They both struggle with identity, with Liesl losing her parents at a young age and Max being a Jew in Nazi Germany. They are able to connect by relating to each other's individual experiences and seeing the similarities they happen to share. They talk about how the soup is terrible, or how she cried a lot too when she first got there, and even channel their hates towards the Fuhrer by impersonating him. Through this, their misery and sadnesses are temporarily forgotten as they immerse themselves in laughter and joy in their own little refuge. This struggle with identity can be reflected with adolescent teenagers in our current society, where many try to fit into the norm, ignoring key questions about their own identity, character, and personal values. Seeing a similar situation on screen can remind viewers that they are not alone in this journey through life and can feel a sense of belonging relating to the experiences of characters such as Liesl and Max. Liesl sees Jews as something not to be afraid of and rushes through a crowd of Jewish prisoners marching through a town, desperately trying to find Max. Through the choice of a Dutch angle and a sequence shot that has slow motion, a psychological sense of unease is immediately experienced. As the scene switches from Liesl to the unsteady, swaying, and tilted angles of the familiar Jewish faces in the crowd, her feelings of disorientation are intensified as we begin to search for that familiar face. This is disturbed by a Nazi officer who appears out of nowhere, leaving viewers feeling like they've snapped out of an engrossing trance. As the movie progresses, Liesl develops spiritually and emotionally, becoming more empathetic, recognizing the hardship and sadness around her. Her empathy shows an acknowledgement of a collection of individual experiences in the chaos and disarray of war in Nazi Germany. This sense of empathy emerges from a father who embodies the epitome of universal kindness. The inconsistent nature of human behaviour is revealed through the extreme cruelty and oppression of the Nazi regime, juxtaposed with Hans' esteemed moral values. Despite living in an oppressive society, Hans chooses to love and care about others, despite suffering from social alienation as a result. We see how Hans chooses to step up and fights for what he believes in. He acts as an example to live up to, modelling individuality and bravery, for Liesl as well as the wider audience. However, on the other side of the spectrum, the Nazi Party find grounding and assertion in the destruction of Jewish books, with the burning of books representing the destruction of the collective body of Jewish intellect, knowledge, and creativity. These inconsistencies are furthered with the tracking shot of the children running down the road happily yelling that England have declared war on us. The slow motion allows the happiness and excitement to be clearly noticed before we begin to question how and why children would be excited for such horrendous news. Furthermore, the film encourages us to challenge the assumption that a single word can carry vast and extensive meaning. Because of the word communist, Liesl's father is taken away from her. Because Max is a Jew, all the cultivated fear and hate is instantly directed towards a single individual, forced to carry the weight of an entire culture. This is made possible by the stories propagated by propaganda, creating a biased facade on targeted groups. This is still evident with current issues regarding racism and prejudice in our society, and encourages viewers to reflect personally on their own use of language and the possible impacts it may have on the wider community. For me, The Book Thief is a story that encourages us to pursue compassion and kindness in our lives and to be empathetic to others. In the midst of Nazi Germany, Liesl was able to embrace other individuals' experiences with their own through storytelling, forming lifelong and valuable connections, while Hans is an example for us to stand up for what is right no matter what the circumstances. As viewers, we connect to Liesl in the same way as she connects to characters in the in-universe. The situations we see are universal and easily relatable to a wide audience, prompting us to challenge and reflect on what shapes who we are and emotions that arise from particular experiences. It also addresses the inconsistencies in the wide array of human behaviour, especially in chaotic settings where social norms may be unconsciously distorted, leading to a whole set of issues. Fortunately for us, Liesl lives a long and happy life, surrounded by family and friends, her story being told many, many times, before finally, death reaches her.